Taking a look at the time, and it's now 12:02. And I think it's a good time to get started. I want to give our counties the time that they need to present their presentations. So we are going to get started officially. So I want to welcome you all to our virtual speaker series for 2025. Today's webinar is our Cultural and Linguistic Competency Showcase. It's being provided by the PA Care Partnership, which is a statewide system of care grant in association with the Office of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services, better known as OMSAS. And with that, I will toss it over to Kelsey Leonard.
Wonderful. Thanks so much. It's great to be with you all today. I'm so excited for this showcase and for our amazing team of counties, including Greene County, Delaware County, and Blair County, who have been working tirelessly over the past 4 years to advance cultural and linguistic competency programming in their respective counties, and also leading through their knowledge acquisition around the national CLAS standards, culturally and linguistically appropriate services, as well as social determinants of health and the Healthy 2030 plan. And so we're excited to see some of the initiatives under those larger national policy frameworks that they've undertaken and really leaned into with respect to what's a good cultural match for their counties. And so we're just really excited to have all of you here with us today. As was mentioned at the top of our webinar, I am Kelsey Leonard, and I'm the Cultural Linguistics Competence Coordinator for the PA Care Partnership at the state level, and have had the privilege and honor to facilitate our CLC community of practice over the past 4 years, of which the counties are members, and they meet monthly and get to share some of the best practices, wise practices, lessons learned of the work they've been doing that you will all now see culminating in today's showcase. So with that, we also are gathered here and have the past 4 years every July to celebrate National Minority Mental Health Awareness Month. This is a national designated celebratory month in honor of Bebby Moore Campbell, who was a strong advocate for the unique experiences of minority populations across the United States with respect to mental health, behavioral health, and specifically those unique intersections of youth and family voices, especially diverse youth and family voices of minority populations that have varied and different and sometimes disparate experiences when it comes to seeking services and accessing services, of which you will hear much of today, and how counties are responding locally with real action-led change. And so we're very excited to have you all with us today. Another cool feature of this July series is our visual note taking. And so we have someone from Ink Factory with us, Emily. And Emily, I just wanted to toss it over to you for a short introduction and tell us a little bit about visual notes.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, my name is Emily. I'm just going to be taking notes of the talk today, and I will just be synthesizing all the information and representing it visually. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And so at any point in time, you can see Emily has a cool feature where, although you're not seeing her face, you are seeing the wonderful notes that will be generated over the course of our discussion today. And some of that as well will probably integrate some of the questions that you may put into the Q&A box or to the chat. And so feel free to engage. And if there's something you hear from the speakers and you're like, oh, I really want to see that on the visual note board, type it in the chat and we'll try and make sure it's covered. So we're so appreciative to have this really unique opportunity to mesh art with the cultural work that we do. So with that, I wanted to go next to share with you all an introduction. Oh, looks like our slides are just pausing for a moment. We'll give them a minute. There we go. So the pièce de résistance, to not delay us any further. We're excited to be able to showcase our counties today, and they have been a part of, as I mentioned, the grant work that we've been doing for the past 4 years through the PA Care Partnership to advance cultural and linguistic competency, CLC, at the local level with our local CLC leads. This was an innovation of this sustainability grant. Sometimes we see CLC happening at a very top-down level across the state, and it doesn't really match what's happening on the ground at the local grassroots. And so we wanted to make sure that there were local leads that could champion this work. And we were so fortunate to find counties and folks within those counties who really took the charge of that call to action and just ran with it. And so we're very excited to be able to showcase their work today. So to kick off our spotlight, we'll hear from Greene County, where cultural enhancement strategies are meeting community need from the ground up. So I will share next to my colleague, Joe Burgess.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Joe Burgess. I am the lead cultural linguistics consultant in Greene County. Next slide, please. We will talk about the demographics of Greene County very shortly. We will talk about a Greene County survey that we done the spring of 2024. We will talk about obstacles and barriers that we have in Greene County, and then accomplishments and planning for the future. We also will have a guest presenter, John Furby, who is a co-founder of Greene County Community Support. Next slide, please. The total population is about 36,000 in Greene County, with the two larger towns in our area being Waynesburg and Carmichael's, which comes to roughly a little over 4,000. So that means almost 32,000 individuals live in the very rural areas. Next slide, please. The Greene County Survey. A survey was conducted in the spring of 2024 and administered to the county residents. I traveled the entire county for many months doing this survey. The subjects were divided into 4 regions: medical, education, mental health, and the Greene County response to needs of the county. The following responses were identified. Region of the counties are isolated due to transportation issues. Information needs to be accessible to individuals who live in more rural areas. More individuals feel that medical professionals serve the population better than any other service in Greene County. Regions of the county feel that they are underserved. There needs to be more cultural awareness provided to the providers themselves. Next slide. So these are a couple pictures of Greene County, and as you can see, we have a lot of trees and a lot of open areas. It is, for no one who has been through Greene County, it is a very, very rural county. Next slide, please. Obstacles and barriers in Greene County. Transportation is a giant barrier and obstacle. We suffer a lot with generationism, which is basically to say individuals who are older accept things instead of addressing their needs, and that's just everyday life. It's a very economically depressed area. The educational levels are very low. Stigmas within the community of alternative lifestyles, stigmas within the community of receiving services. And a lot of these are, if you seek mental health services, you are criminally insane, or if you seek any kind of services to help you out, it means you're less than. The low income ratio in Greene County. We have a hard time finding staff to fill provider, pardon me, I lost my train of thought. We have a hard time finding staff to fulfill absences within the providers. Internet capabilities and technology issues. There are regions of Greene County, there is no internet and there is no cell phone service. Feelings of low self-esteem, self-worth within the individuals. Again, and that goes back to the generationism of I don't need any better. There's a sense of hopelessness, and when individuals leave traditional family settings or diverse locations, there's been an influx of people coming to Greene County who do not fit our general demographics, because I believe the number was about 95% white, which is fantastic to have that diversity come to our county. Next slide, please. Accomplishments in planning. We've created a CLC committee. We surveyed the entire county on what individuals feel is needed and important to them. We were listening to individuals in the community and adapting better ways to service the entire community in regards to the needs they identified. We became more focused on communities, especially those in the outer line and underserved communities. Next slide, please. We developed and implemented trainings for providers and communities to understand the different cultures aligned within the communities. We talk to individuals in a manner which they easily understand now, since we identified education was a obstacle. We began speaking and making sure that they understand what is being asked or what they mean as far as their needs to be served. We listen to individuals in service to better meet their personal needs. We are advocating for programming to meet changing societal needs. Next slide, please. This was because of the survey, we decided to hold community resource events in different sections of the outerline areas. And this was taken from our June resource event, and providers who had came to educate and inform individuals of the services they provide. Our next one is actually scheduled for this Friday, and the number of providers has actually doubled, being close to tripled, who want to attend these events. Next slide. We are having in-person meetings at neutral areas and place value upon the individuals in attending, be it providers or individuals in services. We are looking to see if we can actually start conducting meetings online to incorporate individuals who cannot be there in person. We plan community events acknowledging successes and celebrating differences. We try to address the needs of the specific outline areas. We are setting all planning and encouraging providers to align with the CLAS standards. Next slide, please. Now, it gives me great honor to introduce John Furby, and I will let them talk about themselves. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is John Furby, and I am from Greene County. I am here as a peer, a neighbor, and an advocate. Like a lot of folk here, I faced many of my own struggles with mental health, and for a long time, I felt like I was fighting that battle alone. It wasn't until I found connection through peer support, peer relations, and the courage to speak up that things started to change for me. That's why I co-founded a local support group here in Greene County Community Support, to make sure nobody walks their mental health journey alone. Next slide, please. Our community is tight-knit, but stigma and lack of information keeps too many people suffering in silence. I believe everyone deserves hope, help, and a safe place to talk, and I'm here to make sure our voices are heard. My journey through mental health has showed me how much information and connection matter. I've seen firsthand how peer-led spaces change lives and how powerful it is when someone feels heard, understood, and not alone in their struggles. In rural areas like ours, people often don't know what help is out there, and that keeps too many people quiet. Word of mouth and trust are powerful in small towns, but we still need support in reaching everyone. Community events and education break stigma and bring people closer together, cultivating a culture of empathy and mutual growth. Grant funding like this helps bring services closer to home and helps local leaders like me and my peers create safe spaces and build trust within our community. Grants like this are seeds that grow sustainable community-led solutions, connecting people with supports and building bridges between peers and services they may need. It also empowers local voices to carry this work forward long after this grant cycle ends. Next slide, please. And speaking as a parent, more education and open conversation about mental health means the next generation grows up with less stigma and more tools. I'm proud to be a voice for those who are unable to be here today. Because of this grant, I feel empowered to have had my voice heard and to stand up for not only my own needs, but also to represent community members who may have not found their voice yet. Without the support from this grant from PA Care Partnership and our local system of care, I might not have found this opportunity to better myself and to serve my community. So I would like to thank them personally for giving me this opportunity to speak today. This opportunity has inspired me to become a certified peer specialist, so I can not only share my own experiences, but also listen to the voices of others across Greene County. This support isn't just for today. It's planting the seeds for tomorrow. It's giving our kids and our neighbors hope, connection, and the courage to speak up. Next slide, please. In a quote I remember and hold close to my heart, mental health equity means no community, no matter how small or rural, gets left behind. Thank you. Thank you for helping us grow, for believing in us, and supporting Greene County.
Next slide, please. Thank you very much, John. Can you hear me now? Sorry. Thank you very much, John. Just a backstory about John. Whenever I was doing this survey, John came to me and said, "Hey, we need a support group." And another individual came and said that we needed a support group. So I asked them if they mind if I got them in contact with each other. And because of this grant, they saw the hole and the need and decided to do something about it. And as I would like to thank you and say goodbye, a little food for thought. Cultural differences should not separate us from each other, but rather cultural diversity brings a collective strength that can benefit all of humanity. And that is by Robert Allen, an author, an American screenwriter, and a film director. Thank you very much for this opportunity and your time.
Well, thank you so much to Greene County. That was amazing. Now we're going to head east to Delaware County, where intentional community connections, cross-sector collaboration, and provider engagement are building real community bridges. So, Delaware County, you're up.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. My name is Donna Smith, Professional Development Coordinator and Consultant at Multicultural Community Family Services. And I'd like to thank you for joining us for our 2025 CLC Showcase. Presenting with me today is Ms. Portia Camara, Executive Director, and Ms. Willametta Horuka, MCFS Volunteer and Community Voice. We're proud to highlight the progress we've made in promoting cultural and linguistics competency across our programs. Today's presentation will share key data, a community voice, and promising practices that continue to guide our efforts to make services more accessible and equitable for everyone we serve. Next slide, Ms. Portia Camara.
As we continue, we want to acknowledge that this work would not be possible without the system of care funding and the support of Laura Kibler, who serves as the Delaware County Children's Mental Health and System of Care Coordinator, and Christina Gordon, who serves as the System of Care Children's Mental Health Program Specialist. We love to talk about Delaware County as a county that is rich in history and commerce and diverse in culture and faith. As a System of Care partner and multicultural as its local lead, Delaware County has been working in partnership with the community to design, implement, and evaluate cultural and linguistically appropriate practices and impact. We are proud to share that we are a county with a population of almost 585,000, where our foreign-born comprise of about 13%, and where 13.7 speak languages other than English in their households. You will see that as foreign-born, we also use the term interchangeably immigrant, and further questions can be asked at the end of the showcase. Next slide, please. Our work has been focused on engaging diverse communities through outreach, awareness, and connections. And in doing so, we are very pleased and proud to talk about some of the accomplishments that we have achieved over these last several years. What all of them primary, starting with the formation of our advisory committee that represents the county's diversity, the county's faith-based institutions, as well as youth and seniors. And when I talk about diversity, I'm talking about CLC advisory committee members that come from the Asian community, the Latinx community, African American, as well as African communities as well. As a System of Care county, we are pleased to talk about some of the activities, highlight some of the activities that have been conducted by the System of Care, beginning with the annual Mental Health Awareness Month celebration that is initiated with a full day of training that brings providers from all over the county together to learn about services and resources in the county, and also to network and support one another. Some other highlights include what is known in the Department of Human Services System of Care as Trauma-Informed Care Thursdays, where opportunities are provided given to providers to come and learn and participate in workshops and training on becoming trauma-informed and enhancing the knowledge of trauma-informed care, as well as supporting Girls on the Run, which is an initiative in Delaware County that outreach to girls who are in need of access to support services such as mental health. We are also very pleased to talk about some of the key accomplishments that have been done through our cultural and language workshops. And as we talk about these key accomplishments, our primary focus is on our social determinants of health domain that highlights education, access, and quality. And the primary drive is to increase the proportion or number of children and adolescents who have access to receive preventive mental health services in our county. In doing so, we know that it is important to ensure that providers are cultural and language competent, and we are very pleased to share that through the course of this work, we have been able to offer professional development workshops that we dub as What's the Big Deal About? These workshops are very culturally and language competency design, and in lines with fostering the CLAS standards to ensure that providers have the information that builds their capacity and learning, that builds their capacity, holds them accountable, and strengthen the bonds that they are ongoingly developing between themselves and the community. Through these workshops, we have had participants from several departments within Delaware County, as well as from the private provider domain. And we want to say thank you to members, provider members that came from Veterans Affairs, the Department of Human Services, COSA, as well as the judicial system. We want to also talk about and highlight an accomplishment that is so dear to the system of care, which is the partnership with the Delco Contact Family Peer Navigation Program. Through this work, Delco Contact has outreach, supported over 400 children and youth to access mental health services within the county. And we know that that access and that support will not be possible without these partnerships, collaborations, and connections that continue to occur. Next slide, please. As we talk about our key accomplishments, we recognize that our key accomplishment here in Delaware County as a system of care will not be possible without community engagement. And when we talk about community engagement, we're talking boots on the ground through outreach and awareness, focusing, driven by or guided by 3 CLAS standards. One is the principal standard that you can see here with a focus on providing effective, equitable, respectful, quality of care to diverse cultural audiences, and that is responsive to their health beliefs and practices. We are also talking about the CLAS Standard 10 that focuses on ensuring that as providers, we are doing ongoing assessments to integrate the CLAS standards into quality improvement activities, and CLAS Standard 13 that focuses on partnering with the community as providers, as a county, to design, implement, and evaluate cultural and linguistic appropriate practices and the impact of the delivery of the services. Some of our activities as part of our engagement has been reaching out through flyers distribution, over 3,000 plus flyer distributions to a local food pantry in Delaware County, health fairs, as well as senior centers that provides information on family accessing mental health resources and services. We are very pleased as part of our engagement to have hosted a minimum of 3 convenings with one bringing together immigrant organizations, providers, and stakeholders, and introducing them, providing access for them to the Department of Human Services, where lots of resources and information can be available to them as they service their community, as well as ensuring that they know where to reach when they need to support members of their community, cultural members who come to them for support. We were also very privileged to have a presentation by the Children's Office of Mental Health, Delaware Children's Office of Mental Health, Delaware County, that is, to have them present before the Delaware County Commission for Immigrant Affairs, provided information to the commissioners on the services that are available to diverse populations within Delaware County and how those services can be accessed. Lastly, one of the convenings that have been very dear to us is when we brought the community together through a process known as Palava Hot Conversations, where we take community voices or we bring community voices to community issues. And when we did that convening, the primary focus of that convening was mental health stigma. Let's talk about mental health stigma within the immigrant community. Palava Hot Conversation is an Afrocentric, multicultural engagement and dialogue approach that makes it possible to hear, to listen, to hear, to support, to engage, and to take that information provided by the community, voices by residents, to the county, to providers, so that they can hear it and infuse what they hear into practices, policies creations to better support the community. We are so pleased to have had the opportunity to do so. And now what we'd like to do is to introduce Ms. Willamette Kipula, our community voice from Delaware County, to share her story and ways that she has supported the work of the system of care within Delaware County. Next slide, please, and Ms. Willamette.
Hi, my name is Willamette Kekula. I'm married with 5 kids. I've been going through mental health problems since 2000. I also have a daughter who also going through the same problem. She left the house one day and we couldn't find her. When we did find her, she was laying on somebody's front lawn. and she was transferred to Children's Hospital where she was admitted. After that, she was transferred to Concourse Medical Outreach Medical Center where they do inpatient, outpatient care, and they help her, and now she's doing very well. She's excuse me, she's a teacher now at a daycare, and she's doing very fine. But as for me, I'm still going through the problem. Sometimes I've tried to commit suicide, but I'm going through therapy right now and going through multicultural community family services / Calabash Pantry. I've been doing very well. We pass off a lot of flyers to people all over Delaware County to talk about mental health. And I also talk to people about what I went through. It also helped me. I help at the food pantry. We pass food up to people every day, every Tuesday, and I've been doing good for me. Right now, I'm still going through my mental health problem, but with the help of the community and multicultural, I'm doing well now, along with going to therapy. Thank you. Next slide, please.
Thank you, Ms. Willametta, for sharing your personal story. We so appreciate you. Next slide, please. So as we conclude our presentation today, you can see we're highlighting our lessons learned, our promising practice, and sustaining the work. So one of our biggest lessons learned is that culturally competent care must be woven into every level of service, not just offered as an add-on. We've learned that representation, language access, and listening to the community feedback are crucial to building trust and improving outcomes. Promising practices include co-developing materials with community members and integrating CLC review into our intake and outreach process. Sustainability. To sustain this work, we are continuing partnerships with local leads, offering ongoing staff training, embedding equity and equitable goals into program planning. Our commitment remains strong to ensure everyone, regardless of background or language, can access the support they need with dignity and respect. So on behalf of our partners and Multicultural Community Family Services, next slide, we would like to thank you for your time today.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Delaware County. We really appreciated everything you shared, and to Willametta for being so honest and truthful with your journey with us today. So we're very appreciative. Next up, we want to go to Blair County, where we are going to focus and hear a bit from their CLC lead on how they've aligned their efforts with the social determinant of health priorities and launched some really cool policy-driven, sustainable change, really highlighting how CLC work, you've heard how it happens across a community. You've heard how it happens, especially with specific cultures. And I think what's also really important that Blair is going to show and has showed an immense amount of leadership is that we also have to have some self-organizational as well as self-related advancement around CLC. So we have to do our own hard work, and we also have to encourage that within our organizations. And so I'd like to welcome Lindsay from Blair County to take it away.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Lindsay Wagner and I work in Blair County as the Quality Improvement Coordinator for Health Choices, and I've been acting as the Cultural and Linguistic Lead for the System of Care grant. Next slide. So Blair County, it's located in central Pennsylvania, about 40 minutes from Penn State University. It is a rural county with about 120,000 on average for the population. I work predominantly with the Medicaid population that has an average of about 30,000 in the county. The total population has an average of 93% white Caucasian residents, 1.8% Black African American, 0.58% Asian, 1.5% Hispanic or Latino, and about a poverty rate of 14.7%. This picture here is an overlook of Altoona, which is the largest town that's in our county. Next slide. So we focused on CLAS Standard number 9, and we found it very valuable in our county through the course of the grant to promote a focus on trainings and education. At the beginning, we implemented a foundation training and we presented it to our behavioral health providers and other system partners. And at the end of that training, we introduced a self-assessment to be completed. And we discussed with our providers how that can be used within their own organizations and how we could also use it to identify existing gaps in the county and just future opportunities for growth. We worked with a particular provider in our county with using this self-assessment. They used the self-assessment within their own agency to create change. They used their youth programs to create us artwork to display in our building, which we use for trainings. They have been making physical changes to their building. They started using smaller group supervisions with their staff with cultural and linguistic topics. And they have been utilizing various community resources to provide education and resources for their staff, which then impacts the members that they serve within their organization. So this self-assessment is something that we continue to do on a regular basis within our own organization and within our provider network. We implemented a cultural and linguistic training internally that included topics such as our county demographics, looking at self-identity and awareness, disparities of mental health and health literacy, and looking at biases in the workplace, which really helped us look at policy change within our own organization. And then this training is something that we can continue to promote in the future. We promoted trainings throughout the county that were developed by our managed care organization through their Social and Racial Justice Steering Committee. And we created a really great partnership with our Center for Independent Living that provided an evidence-based healthy relationships training that discussed diversity, inclusivity, and equity-focused concepts in the workplace. Next slide. So social determinants of health has been a huge focus in our county. We have been working very closely to identify social determinant of health needs for our members and mitigate them as best as possible. Housing is a huge need that's been identified in our county by our members and our providers that has impacted their daily lives and their treatment, their road to recovery. So we have 2 care coordinators who meet with individuals on the inpatient unit in our county, which is our largest inpatient unit that our members attend. One of our care coordinators is a certified recovery specialist who works with individuals who are experiencing some substance use issues. Interviews are completed with our members to assess the needs and barriers that they are experiencing. And then members are connected with resources, and the coordinators can continue to follow up with them when they are discharged to mitigate homelessness or any other social determinant of health that they are experiencing. Throughout the course of this, we have contracted with several community-based organizations, such as the Center for Community Action, our local drop-in center, our single county authority, and now Healthy Community Living, which is a new nonprofit organization that has been renovating different housing, construction related projects in the county, and will work with members on mitigating homelessness and really helping them with other needs too, with in their journey to recovery. Next slide. So one of our largest initiatives of the grant that we focused on was the development of family-driven case management. The model was designed to provide our blended case management programs a framework. We value so much the work and engagement efforts that our blended case manager providers are often able to provide our families, but we recognize too often that the service is driven by trying to achieve that billable time, which keeps members in treatment for long lengths of stay, and they just didn't have a framework to follow as often other levels of care have. So we developed this framework to combine high fidelity wraparound principles and community care behavioral health's core 4 competencies. And the idea is to provide a service that is more person-centered and quality-driven. We saw a need to be more inclusive of having members at meetings, having members at the table more often, focusing on transitioning planning through phases, and including natural supports. We realize that natural supports, having them available and at the table, is so important in an individual's recovery. Building a therapeutic alliance with families and working to understand the family's culture impacts successful outcomes for them. So we had case consultations with one particular provider who at the beginning piloted the model, and we were able to help support them to increase their skills as they learn to apply the phases and principles. All of the providers provided or participated in a learning collaborative using one staff from their agency to implement the model. They received the Core 4 high fidelity training, developed their quality improvement teams, and worked through internal PDSA cycles to create change within their organization. Providers are in process now of transitioning to have all of their staff trained in the model. And our partnership that we created with the Center for Independent Living provided the Healthy Relationships training to our learning collaborative. And now in 2025, we can look to train more staff through our continuous DEI efforts. Providers were able to opt into an alternative payment arrangement to allow their staff to use the model in a way that allows them to focus more on quality and less on achieving units for that billable time. Next slide. Oh, wait, I think we're missing a slide. Did you go back? Oh, well, that's okay. I think we added a community voice slide that might be missing on this, so I can just talk about that. We were able to receive feedback from the staff who have been using the model to hear how they feel and how the families feel about the services that they are receiving. So one family indicated that they feel like they are truly being heard and not just listened to from the staff that they're working with. One of the staff quoted and said that they can now provide more individualized care using strength-based and trauma-informed care. They indicated that this model has reminded them of the reason that they got into this field of work when before complacency was high due to chasing the units. One staff quoted, "I have been able to open doors to creativity and engagement methods that I wasn't able to before, which has allowed me to learn about my client's culture, identity, and values on a deeper level." Another staff indicated that they were able to invest more time to work with a Spanish-speaking family, help them obtain housing who had a difficulty time with the language barrier. They were able to help connect them with ESL classes that are provided in our county to help the family navigate the community more effectively. Next slide. So through our sustainability efforts, the alternative payment arrangement through some growth will help with staff retention, quality, and member satisfaction. We will continue our monthly meetings to discuss goals and progress, receive feedback, continue with our system collaboration to identify gaps and barriers, and continue just growth in the community and continue to work on achieving goals and progress. We are partnering with a faith-based youth organization to provide a generational training that discusses the nuances of each generation and how we can better interact with today's youth who are so largely impacted by social media and technology, and just how we can all interact with different generations in a better and more effective way. We will continue to review data to determine if there are any statistical significant differences that we can use in our quality initiatives to develop interventions and change by using that data to just create better change overall in our community. Next slide. So in conclusion, just to highlight, we have been able to provide more education and resources in the county. We have been able to increase our system collaboration, identify the needs of our families, and provide person-centered treatment. We value diversity and seek for continuous opportunities to grow as a community and our knowledge and the resources that are available. We will continue to strive in Blair County to provide our families with what they need, help them feel heard and valued, and to help them thrive and be the best version of themselves. So I just want to thank you for your time today and for listening. My email is listed there if you have any questions at all or any additional information in the future that you would like to share about what you're doing in your area. I would always love to hear about that. So I just want to thank you very much, and I'll turn it back over to Kelsey.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much to Blair County and to all of our counties for sharing some of the wonderful work they've been up to. And so, just another wonderful thank you. I wanted to also spend some time to maybe highlight Emily and just be able to show some of the visual notes at this stage of our conversation. Let's see. I think I can spotlight you, Emily, for everyone as a speaker. So, and if folks need to enlarge Emily's screen, you can get a chance to sort of see some of the notes and talking about access and diversity and some of the unique challenges and opportunities that our counties have had. And we're going to transition now into our Q&A, where we'll have some separate notes and things that Emily will continue to draw for us. But we really wanted to use this time, as we have in past years, to open it up to your questions. And so you can use the Q&A box feature. If it's not showing on your screen right now, you can click the three dots at the top for more and start to type your questions in there. And our panelists would be really excited to be in conversation with you all and try and answer what we can for you today. But we know that cultural and linguistic competency, it's not a checklist, it's a journey of continual development. And it really helps when you have a collaborative network of engaged folks who want to contribute to it. And that's really what we've seen through our community of practice over the past few years. So with that, we will see what we've got happening in the Q&A. While we're waiting for a few questions to come in, I think you are also able to, if you're having any trouble, we can help with some tech support in the chat. But one question I have for all of the panelists is, why CLC? You might have got thrown into this because of a grant, you might have gotten assigned it from a superior, but now that you've been in the thick of it, either by choice or otherwise, what has it meant to you to be a part of this process over the past few years? And maybe we'll work backwards and maybe start with Lindsay.
I mean, I think it's meant a lot because I've had the great opportunity of learning myself and being able to learn about the CLAS standards and what that means to me on my own personal journey, looking at my own self-awareness and looking how to incorporate that within our organization and throughout the county. I think it's just been an overall great learning experience and a growth opportunity. That I'm excited where it can go from here, just the continuous ability to learn and being able to share that information. So I think it's been a great journey, and I'm looking forward to the future with it here in Blair County.
Amazing, thank you. Delaware, how about for you folks?
So I was CLC, and I am an immigrant myself from Liberia, West Africa, and I am a resident of Delaware County and has been since 2002. And I remember as a new resident, I entered into a county that was in a process of transitioning, and a county that was not as embracing of change and diversity. And as a resident myself, I remembered being on the other side in a way that was not welcoming and inclusive. In addition to being a resident, I also I work within a multicultural organization. And I knew that as Delaware County was becoming more diverse, there was a need to ensure that we will truly become not just rich in culture as we were in a way, but also welcoming and inclusive. So why CLC? It's important to ensure that we are representing what we say we are. If we are rich in culture, how can we demonstrate that? It is to ensure that we hold us accountable through our practices and policies and procedures. But this grant, why it has been so wonderful and helpful, and Delaware County has been a system of care county since 2014. Delaware County was making efforts long before 2014, the first decade of the 21st century, to become more CLC, even though it wasn't being used at the time. We weren't going and talking about cultural and language competency, but we're talking about the need to become a more welcoming county and a more inclusive county. So why CLC? Because we are more diverse now than ever. We are, in being diverse, we have become more polarized than ever as a society. But within Delaware County, the need for CLC says this journey that has begun must continue so that we can become accountable, we can build capacity, and we can better serve the many cultures and ethnicities and people that are residents of Delaware County.
Thank you, Miss Portia. How about Joe from Greene, or any of the Greene County folks? Why CLC? What's been the impact on you personally? And then if you'd like to expand.
So I will do my part. And John just looked at me and said, "Can I speak?" So, for those of you who don't know, this is the first time John has ever done any public speaking, and I'm thrilled to see him embrace it. For me personally, I'm 55 years old, and after high school, I moved away for about 4 years. So I've lived here for 51 years. And as a prior individual who utilized services, I never felt my voice was heard. So whenever I left my old job, Melanie, who is on vacation, um, she's the system of care coordinator for our county. She's like, "Hey, I got something right up your alley." And I loved being out because, for all those years, I thought this was a Joe issue. And then going out to broader aspects of the county, there were many, many other individuals who felt the same way I did. And for those of you who remember when peer support started back in 2007, I was amongst the first to be trained as peer support. I fell in love with that job. While I decided to go to higher education, got a master's. I am now a therapist, and we are actually opening up, partners and I are opening up a basically self-driven peer support. And I'm lucky enough to have John to be one of those individuals. So for everything that was given to me, I'm hoping I'm paying it forward. And now I will turn it over to John.
Okay. Thank you, Joe. And can everyone hear me? Excellent. So attending this presentation for the PA Care Partnership, for me, it's not just about showing up. It's honestly the embodiment of everything that I've been building. My passion for peer support, my commitment to my community's mental health, and my vision for authentic grassroots systems changes. It's more than just a presentation to me. It's a milestone. It's a living testament that my mission is real, that my voice is needed, and that the seeds I've been planting are starting to take root. Thank you.
Thank you both. And we had another wonderful question come in, and a few that are in the Q&A box. So we're just going to keep going with some questions. And at this point, anyone that feels like they'd like to respond can just unmute and share your thoughts. But we had a question come in from Sherry. How do you do sustainability after the grant is gone? So for those on the line, our grant that these folks have been a part of is coming to a close, but they all have their own sustainability visions. So does anybody want to chat about what their thoughts are on sustainability beyond the grant?
I'll take this one for Greene County. We was fortunate enough to have Mark Durgan from the PA Care Partnership to do a coach approach training for us. And we decided during this coach approach, one thing that we needed to do as providers is lay the politics and the business aspect, because we're all to provide services. So we are actually starting a collaboration to ensure that we check each other. And part of the community resources that we're doing, the providers who have been in that love the idea, love the thought, and feel that we need to do as providers more community outreach. So we're actually trying to find ways to continue this, even if there's no financial gain for anybody, just to be a community service.
Thanks. Anyone else want to talk about sustainability? Okay.
I mean, I can mention in Blair. I think our outlook is just to incorporate it in everything that we do. So not looking at cultural and linguistic being a separate thing. It's just incorporated in all meetings and all interventions and strategies using the data that we have accessible to us to look at where there is opportunity, and where the gaps are, and really just continue to set aside. We have meetings that we're going to continue to have, and just when we develop different programming and different initiatives, that it's incorporated at the center, and really making it a part of our system collaboration. Partnering with our managed care organization to promote trainings and education opportunities. And when we do community outreach, just really being present and being able to be there to share information, and really be inclusive, and really trying to expand our workforce where there's opportunities, trying to build that cultural diversity, trying to make sure that our members in the community all have representation of staff being provided to them. That they're comfortable with receiving treatment, and trying to conquer stigma. So I feel like there's endless opportunity, and just continuing to have those conversations and with our providers, and really trying to get our providers to value these practices as well. So that they can incorporate in their agencies when they're providing treatment, and that allowing them the opportunity to look at their own data and how they can develop internal initiatives as well within their own agencies. So I feel like there's definitely lots of work to be done with sustainability, and lots of opportunities.
Thank you so much. Well, and we had a question come in around, we talked about the CLAS standards. How do we learn more about what this is and means? So we're going to share a link with everyone in the chat so that you can access that. I'll do that right now. But the CLAS standards, they've gone through a few different series of evolution. They really were introduced in the early 2000s, and they were very limited in scope in terms of how they thought about culture. Because sometimes folks are like, is cultural linguistic competency something applicable to our town or area if we are, 90% one race or ethnicity? And what we often will say to folks is, cultural competence, culture in general, language, it's not just about race and ethnicity. And it's not just about language. In the language context, it's also about how do we communicate? It's about health literacy. It's about, are we making things accessible by the words that we use and the words that we choose to use in terms of language for a multitude of, neurodiverse individuals. And then in the culture side, it does go beyond race and ethnicity. It can, we often have done work around intergenerational components. We've done work around the culture of families. We've done work around, the unique culture that different economies and industries bring to our communities. Some of us come from, parts of Pennsylvania that are, rough and tumble steel belt towns or former steel belt towns, and that is very much a part of the culture. Military service is also a part of communities' culture, and so all of these counties, they do work around that. They speak to that in some of the presentations they've shared today. But for the CLAS standards, they had to evolve. And so by 2013, we had a more evolved thought that culture and language goes beyond sort of the more narrow scope and is, very broad and Big Ten inclusive. And so there are sort of 15 principles of or standards that address and work to advance health equity, improve quality, and eliminate healthcare disparities. And there's a blueprint document that providers, individuals, those community health organizations can use to implement those standards. And they generally cover three themes around governance, leadership, and workforce. As well as communication and language assistant and other forms of how do we think about quality improvement and accountability. So that's a bit about the CLAS standards. I hope that was a quick overview and answered your question. The next one that came through is I'd love to hear more about how Joe, Greene County, was reaching folks to take the survey, especially those in rural areas. Was this done door to door? So yeah, Joe, do you want to share a little bit about your process?
Sure. Whenever I first started this survey, like I said, being from Greene County, so I already knew not to dress up when going out into the rural communities. So I literally went out in t-shirt and shorts. And the very first place I went, I walked into a little mom and pop store. And for those of you who don't know what that means, it is just in little communities, they have a store that basically is a general store. They have a little deli, they have tools, they have like it's a giant catch-all. So I walked in and came up with my little survey and was talking to the owner of the place. And the place actually had a lot of older individuals in it. And literally no one would speak to me. So before I went out the door, when I was younger, I used to hunt in that area. And I'm like, hey, I used to hunt so-and-so's farm up on the hill. And just me saying that, these older people asked me to sit down. They bought me a cup of coffee. And then they became interested in what I had to say. Um, and that was every little community I went to. I would find little places that community members hang out. I went to food banks. I went to churches. I actually sat outside of a gas station. They let me use their front area. And so not only did I get the low income, but I got wide ranges of income. A good sample of everybody. And I got the low income at the food banks. And like I said, churches were awesome. They'd let me come and like after their services or if they had an event and let me do that. So literally I reached out and going to these rural areas, just little pieces of knowledge I had were big icebreakers in getting through. As I stated in the PowerPoint, individuals have a lot of stigma surrounding services and everything. So that was the toughest thing for me to break through. And just literally anybody who would listen, I would talk to. And I had one individual, we were at a park and I was sitting down at a table and started explaining. They're like, hold on, hold on, hold on. And they started calling people, having them come to the park. So I was literally at the park one day. I'm like, well, I guess I'm working today. Um, but yeah, honestly, I'm a very out of the box thinker. And my thing is the answer is no, only when you accept the word no. So, and I think John had something to that. I mean, no, never mind. So, but yeah, no, honestly, it's just going out and reaching out to the individuals and in my area, definitely making them feel like you're one.
Thanks, Joe. That was a great retelling of your approach and really emblematic of what we've learned over the years that works when it comes to CLC. I don't know if this will be the last question, but it's the last question we have in the Q&A. And so in today's world, DEI is being eliminated, or, there's a lot of transformation and shift happening. What impact will this have on the CLC work or your CLC work? Yeah, what are you all feeling in that sense? Yeah. Anybody that feels the need to respond and
I will respond on something myself and the individuals I'm involved with is, you know what, life is the way life is. And you may not be able to use certain words, but there are things that you can do to circumvent that word and still hold that individual true to their heart.
Thanks, Joe. Miss Portia?
Yeah, this is difficult. DEI for me is so much more than culture and language competency and inclusion and safety. For me, it's a social justice issue, and I speak personally. My heart and hope is that as a county, this work in some variations will continue, because I believe the county recognizes the need for continuing to remain a welcoming place, for continuing to provide safe spaces and places for its residents, for the need to support the members where they are. And so I believe in my county. I believe in the work that it is doing to find pathways that can support DEI efforts. What forms those pathways would take, I'm sure as a county and many other counties out there are continue to be assessed and evaluated. But my heart and hope is that whatever elimination, perceived elimination there is temporary, and this work will continue because there is a need. Because diversity is our strength. And we may see it as, some of us may see it as polarizing right now, but it binds and brings us together in more ways than we can ever imagine. And certainly, I believe, provides the opportunity to create wider safety nets for each person and for us as counties and communities. Ms. Donna, I don't know if you have anything to add.
Well, I totally agree with everyone, but it is, people are worried, but if we're staying true to the CLC plan, staying true to what is needed within our counties, we can take this and continue this further on. Yes, we would have to be strategic. We have our convenings. Yes, it may put a strain on that to a certain extent, but we're going to continue this work. As we stated early on, our commitment is strong. We just have to be more strategic and innovative in the way that we continue this work, because diversity is here to stay.
Thanks, Miss Donna. Anything from Blair at all?
Yes, I mean, I would just concur, and just, I feel like just providing person-centered treatment is so important. Really meeting individuals where they're at, building that therapeutic alliance with individuals, creating that ability to hear them and have their voice be at the table, youth and families, and no matter what age, and just really being able to provide them with whatever is needed and not what we think they need, and really just being able to be empathetic and continuing to look at the resources that we have available, and training opportunities, and being able to educate and provide as much information out there as possible. And I think as much as we're able to collaborate with each other, we can learn from each other, continue to grow, And I think that helps the community and really kind of combat stigma as well. But yeah, we don't have any intention of letting anything slide. We want to continue with our efforts and value it. And yes, I mean, things may need to be worded differently or something if that's necessary, but I don't, our efforts is not going to change in any way. And we're hoping that we can continue to grow it because diversity is here to stay. And I think that puts value to every organization in the community. So hopefully we can grow.
Well, thank you all for those comments and for that great question, because these are difficult times and sometimes we're a little afraid to ask the hard questions. But I've been really impressed with, as I hope all of you have been today, and just hearing a small snippet of some of their work with our counties, with showing with each of you and the work that you're doing, as a PA Care partnership, we've been doing cultural linguistic competency work for almost 15 years. And we learned lessons and we learned wise practices. And I feel like with this cohort of folks, what we really have learned over the course of those 15 years is that the greatest change, the most substantive change we've seen occur is when it's at the local level. And I love what Lindsay said of like, what does it mean to be at the local level? It means to be person-centered. And when you're person-centered, all of these things come into play because we are not just one thing as people. We have so many different identities and experiences that make us who we are. And at the end of the day, CLC is just about how do we acknowledge all of those experiences and really try and take them into consideration in how we offer care to people in need. So, one of the things that the counties have focused on in addition to the CLAS standards is just as a resource for those on the call today is determinants of health. And so there's the Healthy People 2030 plan. Now, what I really like about this is, again, with all of the different word choices that we're struggling with right now in our society, there are 5 main areas of social determinants of health. There's economic stability, education access and quality, healthcare access and quality, neighborhoods and our built environment, as well as social and community context. Now, none of those words to me sound like very polarizing words. They sound like things that are really important to how we create healthy, thriving communities. And so at the end of the day, I wanted to share those resources with you as well in the chat via a link, because if you're struggling to find the words, maybe they're already there. We just have to do a little bit more searching to find them. So with that, we don't have any more questions. We've come to the end of our Q&A. I think it's a really positive note to end on. I also just wanted to give a shout out to all of the participants today. Sometimes when we're doing this work, especially in these times, we're not really sure if anybody's still interested, but we had close to 200 people at one point, more than 200 that registered. So to me, that's very heartwarming because even if there's a lot of change in our society today, there's at least a few hundred of us that are here wanting to see change happen. And so that's really exciting. So Emily, do you want to show your visual notes?
Yeah, you can pin my screen too if that's easier.
I think they're up now. Let's see. I think everybody can see them. Okay. Well, they look amazing. We've talked about over the course of today, access, equity, diversity, thinking about ways across Blair, Greene, and Delaware that we put these types of initiatives into action. We've talked about how ultimately this is also about justice. It's about fairness. It's about equity. It's about ensuring, as we just mentioned, that community voices are heard and that the care that we deliver is person-centered. So with that, we again want to thank you all. I want to turn it back to the PA Care Partnership organizers. I think Colleen may still be with us for some housekeeping towards the end. We've got a lovely evaluation for you all to fill in. And yeah, we're looking forward to sharing the recording and everything that will be available. So Colleen, are you there?
Yes, I am. Thank you, everyone, and excellent presentations. Very informative. So thank you for being part of it. And also, Emily, thank you for the awesome depiction of what was discussed what you can expect from us in the next few days, you'll be getting a summary of the presentation that was just shared. And we'll also include this artwork as well and a recording of this presentation from today. So you can expect to see that in the next few days. In addition, if you are in need of a participatory certificate, if you scroll back, you will see a clip that says evaluation on it. So if you fill out the evaluation form, then you'll have a certificate that will pop up for you to complete and just put your name in it, and we have everything else filled out for you. And I hope we'll have a chance to see you all. I also included, and I'll post it again, some upcoming sessions which are happening on the 26th. It will be Healthy Connections, Creating an Engaging and Innovative Workplace. So we look forward to seeing you, and we only have 3 more sessions left. So we would be very excited to have you continue to participate and be part of it. And that's all I have. Anything else, Kelsey? Or anyone else on the panel?
None from me.
Okay. Everyone have a great day. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Good luck to the rest of the panels. Honestly, awesome job.
The
I
same.
Very
echo
good
that
job.
too, John. Thank you. Thank you all.
Super.